What's wrong with Bill Maher? I've never seen someone hide their face away from the plain facts as stubbornly as this, especially next to someone like Zachary Levi who's not afraid to say it as he sees it when it comes to the modern left. But that's just the beginning, because I think this conversation has set the tone for what we're going to see from Bill Maher even during the next 4 years of Trump. Take a look at this and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
I think, MSNBC is a giant problem at this point, but don't tell me that Tucker Carlson isn't.
I don't know that Tucker Carlson is more of a problem. I think Tucker Carlson might be... No, seriously, hear me out.
Oh, it's okay.
Tucker Carlson is at least saying things he actually believes, and that I think he's done a lot of research.
We actually have proof that is not the case, because you must have seen this story. You seem so well informed.
I'm pretty well informed, but I don't catch everything.
Yeah, you're very well informed.
I don't catch everything.
Okay. It came out, his text came out in the lawsuit. I mean, Fox News had to pay $780 million. You remember this? After the 2020 election, because they claimed falsely about election stealing stuff that Trump had trumped up to get them to say, and Tucker Carlson, we have his private text where he's saying that he absolutely doesn't believe this. And he's savaging Trump. So that's how we know he's full of shit, because we have it. We have the actual text in complete diametrically opposition to what he was saying on the air about, Dominion voting.
But wait, that's just plain wrong, isn't it? You can make the point that most of the mainstream media serves a partisan interest while recognizing that the Fox News lawsuit was a settlement to stop a protracted defamation case moving forward and came with no admission of wrongdoing on part of the network. And while we're on the subject, yes, Bill Maher is right about Tucker Carlson's leaked text messages, but I still don't think it's a rebuttal to the larger point about the media that Zachary's making. By the way, we show you the story behind the curtain, so do consider subscribing to always be first to see it. Now, Tucker Carlson, back when he was on Fox News during the J6 protest, found himself between a rock and a hard place with his audience, and the leaked text messages from internal communication showed that Tucker himself agreed that Donald Trump should concede, as well as infamously even saying that he, quote, passionately hates Donald Trump for putting him in such a conundrum with his charged audience. But the media is much larger than one person or network, and you can't simply chalk up the fact that just 12% of Republicans espouse trust in the mainstream media to people like Tucker Carlson. There's something much larger at play, which Bill Maher repeatedly fails to realize. It's because the media across the political spectrum has either used them for ratings on the right or demonized them on the left, and that even includes supposedly centrist or center-left figures like Bill Maher himself, which was evident from the whitewashing and sugarcoating he did next.
And again, this is the main difference between the left and the right here. When the left loses an election, yes, they grumble about it and they say things they shouldn't, like he's an illegitimate president. They don't actually try to stay in office. Kamala Harris.
Hang on a second. Bill, if Hillary Clinton and the Democrats got their way when they were challenging Trump and saying he was an illegitimate president in 2016, and they somehow got that bullshit Steele dossier to somehow, which was, by the way, all completely nonsense.
You watch too much Fox News.
No, I don't watch Fox News at all. I legitimately do not watch Fox News.
Well, you're getting this
hold on a second. Bill, did they not all think that he was a Russian asset, and that Russia had fixed the election?
Okay.
Was that not what they were saying?
Okay, but I got to explain to you the difference.
Was it not?
And then we don't have to talk about this all night.
I
will.
Bill Maher sounds like a broken record, literally parroting the same talking points that America has gone over 1,000 times before, and there will always be more from the other side, because just this week we got to see a bombshell report from a DOJ watchdog that claimed, quote, we determined that of the 26 confidential human sources who were in D.C. on J6 in connection with the events of that day, 4 entered the Capitol during the riot, an additional 13 entered the restricted area around the building. This is a question over which the organization has been frustratingly evasive in answering, and these findings have only come out after former FBI Director Christopher Wray stepped down. Here's the point of saying all of this: the trust deficit that people have in media and pundits is understandable, and the fact is the vast majority of Americans voted for Donald Trump despite all of these tired talking points is evidence that they're seeing something that people like Bill Maher don't. And where has this landed him? Bill is now in somewhat of a weird place politically for this very reason. He loathes the Republican Party, doesn't feel home with the Democrats, and isn't centrist enough to call himself independent.
You know, you are like a lot of folks who were classically liberal who got left in the left woke dust.
Sure.
And you were like, I didn't move. I didn't change.
I didn't.
The boundaries have changed. And I think it's a very accurate representation of not only where you are, but also where lots of other people, Rogan being one of them. Like,
I feel so good about, despite the way they've found ways to punish me, like never even really, I don't even get a nomination. My show isn't really even in that, please. It's embarrassing to them at this point. But that's their way of punishing the unwoke. But like their thing, you know, my thing with them is you do crazy, nutty, and have a attitude. And I just don't bend the knee like these other people. I will call that out. I will notice it. I will say that I'm a noticer.
Now, don't you feel like Zachary Levi is at least better off putting his foot down to where he stands politically? If you're going to lose one segment of your audience over politics, you might as well gain another. Both him and Bill Maher are in a similar position, being in the media in Hollywood, but despite the great divide and pressure for conformity that exists in these industries, Zachary Levi claims he's lost 0 roles and movie offers due to his pivot into the political right. And that is surprising because perhaps it's just a good example of how much cancel culture's power in the last few years has diminished as the country's settled with the reality of this new Trump-centric Republican Party. Zachary Levi was one of the bigger names out of Hollywood before the election to fully throw the weight of his endorsement behind Donald Trump, despite first advocating for a previously independent RFK Jr.
This year, I found Bobby Kennedy, and I thought, man, this guy's it. He's the real deal. He's the real deal. And in a perfect world, and whatever that would look like, perhaps I would have voted for Bobby. But we don't live in a perfect world. In fact, we live in a very broken one. We live in a country that has been hijacked by a lot of people who want to take this place way off the cliff. And we're here to stop that, right? We're here to make sure that we are going to take back this country. We are going to make it great again. We are going to make it healthy again. And so I stand with Bobby, and I stand with Tulsi, and I stand with everyone else who is standing with President Trump. Because I do believe that of the 2 choices that we have, and we only have 2, Donald Trump, President Trump, is the man that can get us there. And he's going to get us there because he's going to have the backing and the support and the wisdom and the knowledge and the fight that exists in Robert Kennedy Jr. and former Representative Tulsi Gabbard.
And the fact that you could hardly imagine a scene like this in 2016 shows you just how far Hollywood and the media's chokehold on the Overton window is loosened. Zachary Levi himself claims that he personally knows a lot of people in the industry that did vote for Donald Trump, but would not say it out loud. And it's a trend that reflected as far as big tech, with even names like Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg warming up to Trump. And that's why Bill Maher's words just feel like they exist in a bubble rather than connected with the pulse of public sentiment on the ground. But let me know in the comments how you see him evolving politically in the future, and share this video with the people that need to see it. There's little doubt that while mainstream media has been decidedly defeated in the election, they're making some bad moves in haste that only run them further into the ground when it comes to their trust with their audience.